Welcome to another day where we're still cleaning up from yesterday. Yeah, messes abound. Everything has its place, and a lot of it's not there at the moment. Our motor cover has hardened up. I mean, it would get harder over some time. It's only been about 14 hours, 18 hours, and yeah, it's not 90 degrees out baking in the sun like it normally is when we're doing this. 65. It's been kicking off for the last 18 hours, but it's still good enough to work on. And as I said, the only thing I wouldn't want to do to it right now would be something abrasive, like drag something across it or something of that nature. But it's going to get steadily harder and harder as it goes, I'm sure, because like I said, I can walk on the decks in a matter of a couple hours at most. During the summertime, of course, we don't have that luxury today, so we're going to go ahead and start adding some of the bling bling to this thing. I'm a little nervous. I do have to add this edging, and I have to accept the fact that it's the right size. I've fit this thing in the boat 3-4 times. Every time taking a little notch off here, a little nip there. Well, I haven't fitted in the boat for the final time. And, it's one of these things where if you put this edge on and it has to be trimmed back, there's probably going to be an issue. Because the edging starts at one of these hinges right here, and it goes all the way around. And non-stop. Through every corner, everything. It is a pain. It is a real pain. I did this to my other one. Had to take it off. Had to put it back on. Lucky enough, it was already fitted, so I just kind of brought it in the garage and draped it over top of my generator over here. And just put it back on. But this is going to be new, fresh. And on top of that, it's a little chilly out, so it's going to be nice and stiff. So I'm going to get out my heat gun probably and work on the corners. And I'm going to see if I can get this thing installed. And if I get that installed, then it's time to flip it over and we can add all the rest of the bling bling. The hinges won't go on until we're actually got it sitting in the boat. I mean, it can make a big difference between a millimeter too high or a millimeter too low. I want them sitting right on the deck when I mark my circles. So yeah, you don't have, I mean, like I said, if it doesn't come out perfect with the hinges, everything else will be, it'll either jam or it'll be loose or it'll be jacked up too high off the floor. Whatever it happens to be. So the hinges are going to be the absolute last thing. But all the rest of the stuff needs to go on before it goes back in the boat. So, back in the boat. Listen to me. Back in the boat. Like it's ever been there before. I mean, it's visited a couple times, but it has never lived there. It's never spent more than 15 or 20 minutes. Back in the boat this time will mean it actually stays there. Whew! It's a bit of a brisk day out there today, baby, let me tell you. Alright, I had to run out there for our next project, but for now, I've gone ahead and I've got our trim all the way around. I don't know, man. This cold weather, I was thinking this was going to be a nightmare. I'm thinking it actually is a positive. And the cold, if you leave it out when it's hot, it stretches all over the place and it wants to pull away everywhere. You'll come back later and you'll find all your corners are all pulled away, all that good stuff. I've had this experience before. This time, it's cold. And I used my heat gun to do the corners. So I just heated those up, did the bend, shoved them in place, let them cool off. They form fitted perfectly. I mean, I had to put rivets in all the way around. It's just nature of the beast with this thing. I mean, this side over here, people want to step on it, rip it off. When the cushions actually pull on the sides here, they want to pull it off. It's a real pain if it's not riveted on. But luckily enough, the rivets are small, and they only show like this little guy right there. So it's nature of the beast. If you wanted to, you could go around and paint them if you had to. The reason I was outside is I did some measurements to find out where the handle was on my box. Seems trivial, but the reality is I didn't want to put it too far forward. I didn't want to put it too far back. Mine seems in a perfect place. Maybe just because it's mine. But I had another one on there before it got replaced. And when I replaced it, I moved it to this spot and was much more happier about it. But now we have to flip this bad boy over because it's, yeah, painted and trim. Nice. And we're just going to get the rest of the bling bling on. As I said, I won't be able to do the hinges until I've got it set in the boat. That's just kind of a final thing. The box catty cornered or screwed up a little bit, and the hinges screw down, and they screw down hard on one side or the other, and it could be a real mess just because I couldn't wait on this one little thing. So I'm going to flip this guy over, I'm going to finish it up, and we'll see where we're at from there. We went ahead and got our, that's basically a step, but it's a bumper in our case, so when the motor box flips forward it actually sits on that instead of actually the painted surface, which gets worn off if you jiggle the box any. We got our vents installed. Of course we got our handle installed also. Everything's been cut off in the back and everything's ready to go. We also went ahead and took our last board over here that we've been using for fiberglassing and everything else, and we actually got the circumference of this seat here. Still needs to be cut out, still got to drill some holes and all that good stuff, but it was sitting here and I thought, you know, if I do it now it's out of the way. If I don't do it now I'll probably forget about it. So there it is, and that's about it for us. It's about 7:30 now and it's completely dark, and it was already cold out, so now it's cold and dark. So we won't be doing this evening, but we shall give it a good run tomorrow to get it in the boat and see if we can actually screw it down and turn it into a real motor box. We'll see you then. Welcome to another day where it's a bit gray out, it's a bit chilly out, and the motor box is out of the garage and in the boat. And it fits. Oh my god, it fits great. I am just like, I'm a bit shocked, to be honest. No tweaking, no nothing. The wife and I actually picked it up, carried it out here, set it down, I gave it a little push, and it fell right into place. I mean, it literally fell right into place. It went clink, and like it was just always been there. Wow. And the bottoms fits well. Wasn't supposed to fit tight around here. It's supposed to actually just kind of sit. It's not supposed to sit on the seat itself. It's supposed to actually sit on the box and over here at this lip. And as I said, that lip inside here on this deck part, which now is extremely dirty. Well, it's been a few months. But that lip actually catches it. I would push it open, but I'm afraid I'm going to push it that way. And I'm actually trying to get it perfectly centered up at the moment. The deal is we want to make sure it's square on both seats, and then we got to find the center of the actual box and make sure it's center between the, so it's not like cocked over this way or cocked over that way. And yeah, I think actually the way it's sitting now, it's pretty square as it is, but we're just going to double check and quadruple check before we drill a hole. This is amazing to me. I mean, this is truly is amazing. This is a point where, like I said, when this box is installed, I'm pretty done with fiberglass. Pretty done with paint. I mean, next thing I'm thinking is motor, outdrive, and upholstery. Yeah. But like I said, I gotta get a couple things more together here, and then I'm gonna have to get out here and actually square it up perfectly. Then we're gonna have to drill some holes. Then we're gonna have to put in a backer plate, drill some more holes, screw in some things here and there, and then get it lined up again, drill some more holes. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those deals where a couple hinges are gonna take pretty much half the tools in the garage. But yeah, I don't really care. I don't even care how cold it is out here right now, because it's a bit chilly. But yeah, I know I keep saying it. Yeah, this is awesome. This is freaking awesome. Man, that sound feels so familiar. And there we are, all installed. Does need some tweaking still. Just tiny little things here and there. It just needs to sit in here for a few weeks and kind of adjust to where its surroundings. Everything's through bolted. Yeah, the whole boat's a huge mess at the moment. And yeah, it feels very familiar, as it should. Sits right in there, like so. Now down on the hinges here, I actually put screws in both sides, and then I through bolted the metal going into the deck, so that way it doesn't have a tendency to pull out. The sides really just kind of keep it from getting cocked one way or another. Anyway, plus they're long enough, they just protrude through the back side of the board, which is perfect. Trying not to get too deep in there, because there is some hoses and such for the gas tank back there we got to be a little concerned about. But overall, yeah. This is exciting. I mean, it really is for me. And this is just, oh my god. This is the last of the missing pieces. I mean, it really is. When we started with a 280T transom shield, and now we have the final motor cover. I mean, it's just amazing. So, as I said, it's all installed. I do have to do some tweaking in the future here, but it's about dark, and on top of that, we have like rain moving in all day tomorrow. One thing we do need to do is actually get this cover support shortened up. Those long legs with the motor box in place now have no place to be, so I need to cut this a little short and get on that real quick. The 19 with its new motor covers all wrapped up and put away. Got our new support in for our top. Hopefully that'll keep some of the water from pooling right here, which it always loves to do on both of these boats. It's just something that happens when you have an 8-foot wide boat. I don't really want to build a tent on top of this thing, so as long as you keep it up in the center a little bit, it will actually run off and won't pool. If you let it sag a little bit in the middle, it'll all pool right there over top of those rear seats. Real pain, but everything is put away over here. The majority of stuff is put away in here. So we're going to call it a night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to another day. Yeah, it's an ugly one for sure. We're going to go hide in the garage today, see if we can find something else to do. Well, it's still howling outside, so we decided we did a little cleaning up and straightening up and figuring out which direction and how we're going. Really isn't a lot we can do right now, being the motor box build kind of almost semi-completed yesterday. We really weren't set up to do anything else. Probably should have gotten my pieces cut for the upholstery, but of course we ran out of daylight, so I'm not going to do that in the dark. At least I could have actually water sealed them up and got them ready to go down to the basement to be upholstered at some point. But that is something we can do along with the stuff that I've got out here for our next project. We can get some of this stuff out of the way. Very shortly we're going to have to start digging through this pile and get the outdrive and the motor out. And I figure once I do that, that's when all the outside stuff's going to end, and we'll be working in the garage because it will take up the majority of this space. And you know, it's just kind of like a different phase. This is motors, outdrives. This isn't fiberglass and paint. So really glad I put that support in. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to another day. Yeah, that's almost a daily occurrence around here. We have like I don't know, I think I counted one time something like 80 trees of various sizes and shapes. They just happen to fall everywhere. And I know a lot of these people around here, they bag them up and they ship them off to the county and all this stuff. We live next to a park. We got another park over here. It's all park property. And it's even behind us. So they don't bag their leaves. So I don't know what these people are thinking, but let them have at it, I guess. Maybe they think they're doing their part, but the reality is we have nothing but sand down here, so any organic matter that you grind up in the grass will be beneficial to you in the long run. But we are here, and we are outside, and it's not raining, so this is all a huge plus for us right now because we have like one thing left to do, and we got to get the rest of these boards cut for the upholstery. And I kind of figured I'd be out here in the cold doing it. I thought I'd be doing all of it out here in the cold. Lucky enough, I think I only have these two back seats to make, and I already have this one in here, as I said, or I just showed you. We just got to cut it out, do a little fitting, drill some holes in it, get our bolts put in, and it water sealed and ready for upholstery. And I think we're pretty much done outside for the rest of the winter. So we went ahead and got all our wood cut for our backer boards. Looks a little short in places, but it's intentional. And this is supposed to come up here like that. Leaves a gap between the back there, between both cushions will fill in the gap, of course. But it'll leave a gap in the back for water to drain down and all that good stuff. And I know a lot of people with these Novas in the past, they would just use snap-in seats back here. And everybody walks in these boats right here and then in a seat. And back when I had snap-in seats in the back of that thing, I personally stepped on this boy right here and it unsnapped and fell right there, and I went over backwards and I fell back on the pier. But lucky enough, you know, I could have easily fell in the water, or I could have smashed my head against the pier and then fell in the water, and that would have been a whole mess. And from that point on, I always thought, you know what, it's a whole lot easier to make these, and on top of that, they're safer. So I put in backer boards for my back seats. They're not removable, but I don't tend to need to remove them very often anyway. usually only to be reupholstered. So as I said, I've got all my backer boards built or cut or, you know, shaped, I guess, because as you can see, you know, they have a little crooked there, a little bent there. This one's 22.5, that one's 20.5. It's just, it's, trust me, there's almost not a single square because of all the different angles of the pitch of the deck, the actual pitch from the sides that come out, the motor box that swoops out this way, that actually goes up that way. Yeah, there's a lot of angles, but I'm pretty happy where they're at. Next thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to actually put them up in place, and then like the bolsters on the sides and all the rest of the upholstery in here, we're going to drill them, and then we're going to put these galvanized carriage bolts through the backer board and then glue them in place and, you know, bolt them down from the back basically and leave it all dry up. But beforehand, as I said, I need to get all these holes drilled, and then I got to get them Thompson water sealed. I know a lot of people would go with pressure treated. Not the biggest fan of pressure treated. It's never, I mean, unless it sits around for a couple of years, I always feel like it's still wet. On top of that, I did Thompson's water seal on this seat and my boat, and when I took it off, it looked exactly like that. And I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. The seat that came off, that's been on there for 11 plus years, looks exactly like that. So I'm just going to Thompson's water seal everything, and I'm going to call it good. But now, as I said, we have darkness that's creeping in on us, so we really do need to get these drilled up. Alright, I got all my carriage bolts installed. Looks pretty good. I may add just a tiny bit of padding to this side over here, but that's just an upholstery trick, something you do. And I think I'm good here. I think I'm real good. Now I just gotta get everything out, vacuum up everything, and then water seal it all. It's never done. Darkness is coming upon us. The boat is put away. The mess is cleaned up. And all our boards are in here drying. And we got some space between them. Let them sit underneath my ceiling fan overnight and cure up. Bit liberal with that stuff, but you know, I use it now and then. I've got, well, now I have like just a gallon, but I had about 2 gallons of it, so I'm a bit liberal with it, but you know, let it saturate in, let it do its thing. As I said, the other box, when I took that cushion off, that thing looked just like one of these boards. I ain't saying it's, you know, everything, and it's not gonna, you know, cure all rot or all this or all that, but it definitely has done something. So, but we're gonna let this kick off overnight. Then we're going to go ahead and we'll put our bolts in and glue all that stuff up tomorrow and let them dry up before we take them down in the basement and put them on my carpet, which we don't want them to transfer any liquid nail or anything like that onto that. And our upholstery will be ready for upholstery. And one last thing we do have here, I forgot all about our list. And we have a major thing to take off, and that would be the motor box build. It's a little spinny on me. But yeah, the motor box build is gone. The only thing left now is upholstery, the rub rail. Simple enough. I'm not even worried about that. It's just expensive as hell. Motor and install, outdrive and install, batteries and cable. Ordered all my cabling last night, so this one may be going away soon. These two go together. That's motor and outdrive install. I can do an outdrive install in about 25 minutes. New, I guess maybe we'll give it 25 minutes. I believe I took one off in like 12 minutes, and I mean properly, not like, you know, butchered anything up. I had to put another out drive back in the same place, but I think it was 12 minutes one where I had to get one off and it was cold as all get out. But with that, I mean, it's upholstery, rub rail, motor install, out drive install, batteries and cables. This list is getting very short, but so aren't the days and so isn't the weather. So we've got things to do in the garage for a while. But on that high note, we're just going to call it a night and we'll see you tomorrow. And welcome to another day. Remember what I was saying about salvaging everything you can off of the boat while we were taking it apart? And I'm sure a few of y'all thought, why is he saving screws? Well, they're expensive as all get out. And you take a screw like this, it's all kind of discolored and, you know, kind of bronzy looking. Let's take it over here to our bumper. Oh look, it's brand new. Yeah, that little wheel right there cost me about 10 bucks. The amount of screws that it's salvaged, priceless. I mean, it's in the probably well into the hundreds, probably closer to thousands by now. I mean, you just take an old crappy screw, and make it look brand new. So I'm sure you're wondering why I'm making up these screws. Well, we do have 4 that are needed for the front, but that's not for them. That's actually for these trim pieces around the seat. Now that we actually have the motor cover in, we can get these cut to the right size. And of course, they can't be installed right away because then the ends will have to be stained and polished. So, but the thing is we just want to get it to where they're done and ready for install. Meaning that we can go ahead and size them up right. We can go ahead and stain them up, poly them up, drill the holes for the screws, have everything ready to go. I mean, I could go out there with a dime, you know, the coin, and install them. That's how easy it should be when we're done here. The weather's a bit sketchy today, so we're kind of doing what we can and trying not to get too involved in anything too deep. As I said before, we're running out of outside projects, and that's a good thing. That's a real good thing, because we're not going to be so lucky on this weather much longer, that's for sure. After my 737th try, I think I've got this angle right. I haven't got it actually installed yet, and they have to go over top. So you have to actually cut the leaves in for the screws that we actually had to bolt this down to this with. So yeah, it's a bit tricky, I gotta say. You gotta get that in right, and then you gotta get this one. As you can see, that is not a 45. That is about a, I don't know, 37 with an end cut off. But man, it fits in perfect. Alright, this one's done. It's all going to get stained and polyurethane, which is like a 2-day adventure because you're supposed to stain it and then you're supposed to give it like 12-14 hours. Or you'll end up with little bubbles in it. And I've seen that before. I had a dashboard I did a bunch of years ago. Stained it, looked beautiful. Thought after about an hour or so I'd throw a coat of poly on it, give it all night to dry. I came out the next day, it was all full of bubbles. I had to strip the whole thing back off again. So, and since it's going to get really cold out here in the next few days, we probably won't be doing this for a while anyway, so we got plenty of time. And now I have to go do the second one. Hopefully it won't take an hour and a half like this one did. Alright, the second one is done, and not a second too soon as far as I'm concerned, because well, there's another leaf in there. I'm not getting that one. Yeah, with all this wind around, it's snowing leaves, and I'm tired of picking them out of the boat. And as the sun starts to go down, it's getting chillier and chillier, so I'm going to go ahead and strap this guy down. I'm going over here and clean up this mess, drill a few holes in this guy, or these guys. Yeah, this isn't finishing work. We're not going to be able to use the pass load and nail these guys to the wall, so to speak. They actually get drilled. This one will probably get 3, these get 1, and they get these little decorative screws that go in them. It goes right in through the face, and you see them plain as day. So, but we need to get those drilled up, and then of course we, as I said, finish cleaning up and then get everything moved into the garage try to get them warmed up a little bit, get them to accept some stain. We also have our backers for our upholstery work. All need the bolts to be inserted and glued up. Yeah, we got a few things left to do. And just like that, we're done. We went ahead and got 2 coats of stain on all our spots on our trim pieces. You know, do a coat, dry it down, let it sit for an hour, come back, do it again. Yeah, those are all been done. Now they can sit till tomorrow, and then we already got our poly out right there, ready to go, and we'll just re-poly everything. We also went ahead and glued in all our carriage bolts for our upholstery pieces. Then dabbed a little bit on the outside and smeared it around a little bit just to give it a little bit, you know, extra grab. Just there, just to go through the hole and then put a nut on the other side. You know, I mean, these things don't come in and out. They just stay in place, which is really nice because who wants to tow cushions around all the time? I had a couple boats that required cushions to be toted. And, you know, when you can remove them, it's like, well, I probably should take them out of the boat then. You know, it's not like you want to leave and snapped in cushions in. So you take them in, you take them out, you know, and it just becomes a bigger pain than it really is necessary. And on top of that, as I said before, these are safer this way, at least for my own health. But like we said, we have to let these things set up for a numerous amount of hours, which will probably be about, when it looks about 20. So, yeah, we are done for the evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Boy, it's really hard to get this whole thing in frame, huh? Let's do that again. That don't make any sense. Let's start that over again. All right, do a long dramatic pause here. I know a lot of people, yeah, let's do it this way. All right, one more time. We also have to work on our, let's see if I can get that all out in one sentence. We got to get all the bolts. Why can't I say bolts? One more time. Oh, please. One more time. Just one more.